Namaste from Sutra Network. These are the headlines for today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi embarks on his first visit to China in 7 years, attending the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Tianjin. He is expected to meet President Xi Jinping and President Vladimir Putin during the summit, marking a major diplomatic moment amid rising US-India trade tensions. After months of diplomatic chill over Khalistan issue, India and Canada appointed new envoys to restore ties, seen as a big step towards normalization. The RBI's August bulletin notes India's consistent economic strength, driven by robust rural demand and low inflation. July saw the lowest retail inflation in 8 years at 1.55%. While the domestic growth remains solid, US trade tensions pose a downside risk. According to McKinsey's Vivek Pandit, India's dream of becoming the world's third largest economy by 2030 hinges on securing export-led growth, especially from the US. Rising tariffs could derail the progress, threatening investment and employment in sectors like textiles, semiconductors, EVs, and medical devices. India marks National Sports Day today, paying tribute to the legendary hockey icon Major Dhyan Chand. PM Modi reaffirmed India's commitment to sporting excellence and nurturing athletic talent. Bhubaneswar is hosting the first ever national conference of SC/ST parliamentary welfare committees outside Delhi. Inaugurated by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, the event will spotlight empowerment, policy accountability, and Odisha's cultural heritage. ISRO has confirmed plans for Chandrayaan-4 sample return mission, aiming to bring lunar soil back to Earth by early 2030s. BCCI is still mulling whether to face Pakistan in Asia Cup 2025, with security and political tensions influencing the decision. Olympic medalist PV Sindhu stormed into the semis of the World Badminton Championships, raising the hope for another medal. Apple bets big on India. Reports say Apple plans to scale India production to 25% of its global output by 2028, which reduces reliance on China. After RBI clampdowns, Paytm has announced restructuring, focusing on digital payments and B2B solutions while seeking new investor confidence. Talking about the news that is taking over the world. India's SCO strategy and China diplomacy, where PM Narendra Modi is visiting China for the first time in 7 years. It is on a high-stakes tour that includes attending the 25th SCO summit in Tianjin, China. This marks our Prime Minister's first visit to China since 2018, where he will meet with President Xi Jinping and Russian President Putin on the sidelines of the summit. Analysts view this as a milestone in recalibrating India-China ties amid tensions with the US. According to Chatham House experts, this visit may signal a broader strategic alignment based on shared visions like multipolarity and global South leadership, especially as both nations seek to assert strategic autonomy amid shifting alliances. Modi's trip also covers the India-Japan annual summit in Tokyo, where both the leaders will reinforce cooperation across defense, technology, trade, and innovation. Talking about the RBI August bulletin that highlights India's sustained strength, buoyed by robust rural demand, favorable monsoon, and subdued inflation. Retail inflation in July fell to 1.55%, the lowest in 8 years. The central bank has notably held the repo rate steady at 5.5%. However, the RBI flags persisting uncertainties around US-India trade policies, especially the abrupt 50% tariffs, as a major downside risk to aggregate demand. Still, the central bank sees supportive momentum in fiscal stimulus, benign inflation outlook, and rising households' optimism. RBI also cites India's sovereign rating upgrade by S&P as a tailwind, expected to draw incremental capital inflows and offer favorable yields on government bonds. talking about India's response to the US tariffs. The exporters are feeling the pinch. Smaller exporters scramble because an estimated 50,000 small exporters are urgently scouting alternative markets, especially in Europe, Africa, and Asia, to offset the impact. Many are rerouting shipments via third countries or reviving past non-US ties. The Southern India Mills Association reports the US tariffs could affect around 70% of textile exports, especially to a market traditionally accounting for 1/3 of sector's total exports. In response, the government has extended 11% cotton import duty exemption until December 2025 to relieve raw material pressure. India's burgeoning solar manufacturing sector with export dependence on the US is now facing a severe setback. With module exports accounting for 90% of the US demand, the tariffs could deepen a supply glut and slow down domestic bidding and orders. But we have reforms that are buffering the shock. In response to the tariff shock, India has accelerated GST reforms and income tax cuts to stimulate consumption. The estimated boost to consumption is Rs 5.31 lakh crore, or about 1.6% of our GDP. Regardless of tariff fallout, India's growth trajectory remains strong, with Fitch affirming a BBB sovereign rating and stable outlook. Analysts at Jefferies now project nominal GDP growth to slow from 10% in financial year 25 to 8.5 to 9% in financial year 26, the lowest in 2 decades, largely due to tariff complications. The strategic and political response are here. India's Commerce Ministry has sought to calm nerves, describing the 50% US tariffs as a short-term disturbance and not a long-term setback. The message is clear. Long-term fundamentals remain intact. Prominent voices, including industrialist Harsh Goenka, have reacted fiercely. You can tariff our exports but not our sovereignty. India bows to none. Meanwhile, spiritual and national leaders like Ramdev have urged a boycott of US goods, calling the tariffs political bullying. What we as citizens see is India is quickly adapting to this trade crisis through a blend of political resolve, policy stimulus, export diversification, and industrial relief. While the immediate impact will likely slow certain sectors and temper GDP growth for fiscal year 26, strategic reforms and domestic demands are positioning India to endure the shock.
रामायण क्लब में हमारा मानना है कि आपकी आध्यात्मिक यात्रा उतनी ही सार्थक होनी चाहिए जितनी कि उसकी मंजिल। 10 सालों से भी अधिक समय से हम श्रद्धालुओं को भारत के सबसे पवित्र स्थलों, जिनमें अयोध्या, काशी, मथुरा शामिल हैं, इन सब से जोड़ते हैं। रामायण और अन्य प्राचीन ग्रंथों से प्रेरित हमारे विशेषज्ञ मार्गदर्शक एक प्रामाणिक और गहन संतुष्टिदायक अनुभव सुनिश्चित करते हैं। हमने 120 से अधिक गंतव्यों की 500 से अधिक तीर्थ यात्राओं में 15,000 से अधिक प्रसन्न श्रद्धालुओं का सफलतापूर्वक मार्गदर्शन किया है, जिससे आपकी यात्रा आरामदायक, किफायती और आध्यात्मिकता से भरपूर बने। हमारी तेज, विश्वसनीय और किफायती यात्राओं के साथ आपका एकमात्र ध्यान आपकी भक्ति पर है। रामायण क्लब को अपनी तीर्थ यात्रा को एक यादगार अनुभव बनाने का मौका दें। अधिक जानकारी के लिए हमारी वेबसाइट पर क्लिक करें।